As the French and English march in the dark, they end up finding themselves on the battlefield and prepare for engagement. Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to another Medieval Kingdoms 1212 online battle as these medieval superpowers prepare for one hell of an engagement in the dark. It'll be very hard to see what's going on for the men on the ground, but it should be one hell of a battle, and with these amazing looking units, I can't wait to see how this one goes down. So as I said, we do have the French and the English forming up for battle. We have the French on the left hand side and the English on the right hand side. However, in the center of the English line, they are not alone. The Flemish have come to their aid to support them in this battle, to give them the cutting edge in this position to try and break the French line. Will they be able to do it? I guess we'll have to find out. We obviously have the awesome looking Brotherhood of St. George's units right here. Such a cool looking unit indeed with their unique weapons. So very nice right there. On the right hand side we have the English line, which is going to be supported by heavy sergeant knights. Behind them, we are going to have some halberds going to be trying to find their gaps. Obviously, we could not have a battle without the English longbow, so that's going to be brought to bear this day, and we're going to see if it's going to be as devastating as it was in real life. Obviously, the English kings are going to be here. We've got a general's bodyguard. Oh my god, that unit looks so goddamn good. Look at that, man. That looks amazing right there. I love the look of them, especially in the dark as well. I think they just glare out and yeah, show their worth. Oh, look at that. The Flemish have kind of created a really unique battle line right there, which is pretty goddamn awesome. And obviously we have another English unit right there. Is this the English? This is Edward the Black. Oh, that's cool. That's very, very cool, because Edward fought a pretty important battle, right? I don't know, I'm actually going to go look that up really quickly. Yeah, so Edward fought in the Battle of Crécy. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that quite right, against the French, and it was a pretty interesting battle. The English, or the Welsh longbow, I should say, defeated the mercenary French crossbows, which forced them to run back through the battle lines, and that then led to when the French knights had to try and charge through their own crossbows into the muddy ground. They then just got demolished once again, and the English ended up losing around about 300 men, and the French ended up losing, you know, close to 1,500 to 4,000 is the figures on Wikipedia. So once again, the muddy ground proving devastating for the French in history. They really should have, you know, tried to get some mud-proof, you know, wheels on their horses or something. I mean, seriously. But yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, I guess we can kind of argue that this is that battle, even though it's at night, so not really. But yeah, well, take a look at the French army. Obviously, the French knights are not going to have to worry about the muddy ground this day, and they're going to be definitely very, very potent in this battle. I mean, just look at them in all of their glory, ready to charge across this field, and they are beginning to get their maneuvering ready. On their front line, I'm assuming, yeah, we're actually going to have some crossbows. So yeah, I guess they're trying to create the Battle of Crécy. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Hopefully I am. Yeah, obviously this is during, I'll just call this like 100 Years War battle or something. That would be fine, I think. Yeah, so we have the French crossbows. These aren't Genoan crossbows, but we're so used to seeing, but they're going to be kind of mounting their offensive right here. Do we have the French king here, the Royal de France right there, with his mace ready for battle? And then obviously more French knights on that left-hand side. And then all the way down here, we do have another French unit. Yeah, the same unit right there. So the French are bringing some pretty heavy knights to bear. It's going to be pretty scary to see what they're capable of. Lots of dismounted French knights as well. Going to hopefully be going against them, and obviously some sergeants and other units on the front line. So let's just go ahead and jump ahead until this battle is ready to kick off. I'm really, really loving the Flemish. I love it when players do this in these battles, is they just try and create unique and interesting formations rather than just like a standard spaghetti line. But we don't really see too much anymore, but rather than just kind of one like standard line. I love to see it when, you know, players do unique formations. Also, I'd love for a modder to like extend it like a bunch of maps in this game. It'd be so awesome to have, you know, huge maps for these large scale engagements. you know, it was just kind of like stretched out all the way down there, you know, just stretch out to the corners of the map, you know, just give these players a lot of room, because most of the time they do create these unique engagements, where, you know, they're all talking on Discord anyway, so they can agree stuff to happen. So yeah, it's such a shame that the Attila maps are as small as they are, because there's just no room. And I mean, realistically, I imagine it's probably bloody tedious, but just extend the map all the way out, you know, to cover the reaches. That gives them so much more room to mess around with and actually have like outflanks and just interesting, you know, battle mechanics and stuff. So maybe one day a model will delve deep into doing it, and just kind of like extending it. I mean, yeah, as I said, I have no idea how difficult it is. It probably is a pain in the ass to go through like every map and probably like extend the battle radius, but maybe, who knows, maybe it is relatively easy. We'll have to see. But anyway, let's just dive into the battle. The English are going to be moving up on this hill, taking refuge within the forest pretty effectively, and the rest of the infantry are pushing up. I mean, realistically, I imagine the English are just going to be trying to get their archers in range. If the longbows can start to shoot and volley off against the French, that's going to force them forward, because the French mainly have crossbows on that right flank, up there, and then obviously over here they do have some archers, but they are kind of further back, and the English longbow will obviously outrange them, so that's going to force them forward pretty hard, and that's going to, you know, encourage them to fully engage along that battle line. I do like how the English on this side of the battlefield are kind of edging their formation, so they're not going to be coming in straight against the French. They're going to be coming in, you know, basically at an angle, which is going to force them, but the French do look like they are rotating to face that. So again, some nice formations there by the English, and it does seem like the French are just holding firm, causing some harassment here as well. And it's so interesting how different these battles have developed, you know. Right back a couple months, probably like 4 or 5 months back, there were like spaghetti lines, and then the players really punished the spaghetti lines by charging heavy cavalry into these loosely formed, you know, not many rank deep infantry lines. And then from then on, we got thicker lines, which meant the French couldn't do it, and cavalry ready to support. And now we're getting these halberds on the front line as well, so if any cavalry tries to come in here, they're going to get heavily hammered. The English are going in for a pretty horrific charge here, but they are going to be pulling out at the last minute. That's a smart move there. They don't want to get too deep into a battle line. They'll get punished pretty heavily. But the archers are getting thrown back right there, and the French crossbows are going to be able to start opening up. I think they really want to try and kill these longbows with the crossbows. They're getting very far forward, and they need to be careful. And now they're going to turn around, and the longbows will be able to open up on them. We even have the king himself, or just, no, the king, Edward moving up. And there you go, the English longbow is now unloading its shots. Unfortunately, arrow fire doesn't really do a lot of damage at the beginning, so they're not going to be getting as many kills as they would like. Arrow fire kind of needs a couple volleys to really do the damage, but after they start getting some shots off, they really rack it up after like the 5th or 6th volley as the HP goes down for these units. So yeah, I imagine we will be seeing these crossbows slowly starting, yeah, like just like that. You know, the first couple volleys, hardly any casualties per volley. Now the French crossbows are taking an absolute pounding, and the longbows are proving their worth. I mean, just look at that. Again, Edward is coming out. He's being risky in the 100 Years' War. Man, that looks so awesome. It doesn't look awesome there, but look at that formation, man. These are the battle lines I want to see, guys. And I want to obviously always give a big shout out to the players who play in an engagement like this. Without them, we wouldn't have these interesting battles. So, you know, huge props to them. And do we have a cavalry charge going in here? We do. You're looking just to smash through, you know, again, a thin line without that much support. However, the French player is quick to come in here with his cavalry, and he should be able to catch a few of these horses. This is a great tactic right here to try and catch the English as they dive in. They're going to take quite a few casualties here as they try and pull out. You know, and even though the French did lose about 40 men from that sergeant unit, they managed to kill a bunch of knights, which is definitely worth it. They can then use this as a counter-attack. You can see them going flying in, and they might just be able to catch the Flemish bows. No, they're not going to be able to quite get them. And there you go, more harassment. But you can see this is like the power of the Welsh longbow right here. The retinue longbows demolishing the French crossbows. And that's just forcing the French forward and having to, yeah, throw them in. And now they're going up against the Welsh mercenary spearmen on this flank. That's cool that the longbows are with their Welsh mercenaries. I mean, honestly, the Welsh mercenaries aren't going to stand up to the high period sergeants of the French. But I guess that's not where the English strength is. I imagine the English line will be doing better along here as they've got their own sergeants of the high period, and now the forces do clash in this fight. This left-hand side is going pretty heavily right now. However, as this left flank is going on, the centre is receiving some pretty heavy fighting as well. The French knights actually getting beaten back here as more of the bowmen come in and kind of harass them on that front line. We're getting some of the lancers from England moving in on the front line as well, looking, I assume, to probably go on the charge right here on some of these archers who receive a missile volley and then about to get run down by the Knights of England. Man, that's pretty brutal for them. Oh man, I love this formation. This is so sick. Oh man, guys, do more stuff like this. That is amazing. If you're enjoying this as well and you want to see fucking wacky formations like this, not even wacky, you know, these are practical formations. If you guys want to see more stuff like this, please drop a like and a comment down below. Let them know, because they'll watch these videos, they'll see the comments and they'll see the likes and stuff. So if you guys want to see awesome formations like this, then let them know in the comments. The French Knight though, French Knights actually breaking the English line and causing havoc on the back line onto these Welsh longbowmen, or the retinue longbowmen. It seems like the Welsh mercenaries weren't strong enough to keep back the French sergeants. The sergeants are going to get run down by the English knights, breaking through their battle line, and you're going to see this number drop very, very quickly. Probably even seeing them break pretty soon. Some more of the Welsh longbows are coming back, but this entire gap has just allowed the French to pour through in this battle. Rear charge the rest of the units. It's a very nice move there by the French players, going directly into the rear, and that's gonna, you can already see the French crossbows are breaking their way through in this battle line. Going to be taking on some more land, and the English just don't have any reserves to really send in this battle. Obviously their knights can get stuck in, but soon enough the French infantry will find their way. They really need these men-at-arms to break the French pikemen. But obviously this is such a hard fight for them to win. Obviously, going up against pikemen, but they need these men-at-arms to kind of get a victory here so they can rotate around and engage the rest of this. Down on the main battle line, you do have these spearmen. So this is obviously where the French have kind of made their trade-off. They've kind of put a weaker force in the center so that their flanks can be a bit more devastating. And the English have kind of done the vice versa on that maneuvering. You can see it seems like it's paying off for the French, honestly, in this battle. It seems like the French really have the advantage. And yeah, look at that, a huge break from the English on this right-hand side. We do have some heavy billmen making their way over, but, you know, with this much room to play with, the French knights will just be causing a mayhem. We do have the French general here moving up. Two of the French generals moving up right here, which is very risky. But they do have some swordsmen and other units to quickly come over. And I love how aggressive the French are being with their crossbows as well. Getting them into range of the English knights, throwing them back. And all you can see is all of a sudden on this other side, the French are in a complete out assault. And the English are in a full-on retreat. And we haven't even got engagements along this other side of the battlefield whatsoever. It's just mainly a lot of missile fire going off as the crossbows continue to hammer away on the front line, and then the longbows are also causing some pretty big, damage to the front line of the French on this side. But the main engagement is completely down here, and I think we're going to see the English have to make a move soon, because if they don't deal with this, the French are going to run amok, especially as they're now bringing up some of their dismounted foot knights and the rest of their infantry. The cavalry charges coming in are just ripping the English line apart. And I think very soon you will be seeing the rest of the battle lines. Oh my god, look at that. You can just about see the distant battle lines and the awesome looking formations in the distance. Hopefully that shows up on YouTube, because that looks great. That really, really does. The French knights moving around the flank, and you can just see they're going to start running havoc in this battle line. Edward the Black even going in now, whipping out his sword and charging in against this French push. Pulling out now and trying to get another charge off here. The Flemish even having to commit their knights to this battle now. This death ball is very dangerous, and the French, who have been so aggressive with them crossbows, are now getting their dividends paid for them, because they're getting perfect shots. Even though the English are breaking these French footmen, the crossbows are racking up kill after kill onto the knights, and the knights are the valuable units. They really are. So every single crossbow that gets a kill on a knight just makes so much of a difference, because once you have that maneuverability, these knights can just, you know, cause so many issues. And there you go, the French are pressing the advantage, finding a huge gap in the English line here, getting a perfect charge onto the retinue longbowmen. They are going to be countercharged by a general's bodyguard, but even still, that's a very nice charge there by the French. And it seems like this battle is very much going in their favour. We do have a heavy engagement along here, and the English knights are almost breaking on 65. Oh my god. How are they this close to being broken? The English do have some foot knights supporting them, and they are closing off this distance with some more spearmen as well. So that's not a knight, that's a pretty good move right there. The crossbows, oh my god. The English crossbows right here are demolishing a lot of these positions. However, the French general is going to come flying in here and trying to get a frontal charge, successfully getting a frontal charge onto the knights and bringing them down pretty effectively, running through probably and just, yeah, causing more mayhem. And again, the dismounted French knights are going to be finding a gap through into the back line. Even though the front lines are now fully engaged, you can see this fighting going on pretty heavily. I think that left flank is going to be huge. Oh my god, I take that back. The French are breaking. Why the hell are their morale? Why the hell is their morale so poor? That is insane. I was not expecting that, to see their morale drop so quickly. I guess the continuous crossbow and archer fire really coming in huge right there. The Welsh spearmen coming in to aid in against this fight, but the French knights are just proving their strength on the battlefield. They really are. We can see them racking up several kills and just dominating this flank. Even with the support of 2 foot units, the French knights are still turning this battle in their favour. I mean, the French knight is obviously, you know, well known to be extremely devastating on an open field without any mud. Without any mud. And look at that, the English have been completely broken and they are in a full-on retreat back to their battle lines. I always love to see this as well. When the battle is lost, I love to see the English pull back, or the losing side pulling back to a defensive position. There's no reason to let your men get completely surrounded. They are just going to fall back to this battle line. They've got cavalry and support trying to save whatever they can. Actually, I think the English have been basically completely smashed here. It's just going to be the Flemish making their last stand, falling back. And Banter Power is pretty even, to be honest. You know, there is only around about 800 men in it, which isn't a lot. But I think what's going to be really telling is the fact that the French have all of these knights right there. And the English down here actually lost their general? Oh no, sorry, the French lost their general down here, yeah. Now that's going to turn the tide of the battle massively. I can't believe this French force got killed as heavily as it did. Like, what the hell happened down here? We've been so focused on the other flank that I'm just so surprised that this French force just got that out, like, matched on the front lines. I really, really am. I mean, even with the 2 units of, 1 unit of spearmen and 1 unit of heavy knights, foot knights, they still, you know, the French knights are still holding their own and actually exchanging really well in this engagement. It's actually insane. The French knights definitely have some skill on the battlefield, that is for sure. Well, we've got a big push here up with the knights, and as you can see, yeah, the Flemish are falling back with their victory on this side against the French army. The English are now forming up alongside their Flemish ally. And all of a sudden, the balance of power is actually not in their favour. Yeah, look at that, the 800-man difference is completely gone now. What the hell happened down here? I feel like I've missed something big. I mean, obviously, the general died, so towards the end of it, you know, they started losing, but man, what an engagement this has been so far. Now the 2 armies form up after winning respective flanks. Because it wasn't like the French had, like, broken through, and yeah, I think that's going really well. Maybe the Flemish just sent more support down this side, whereas, you know, the central French army sent more support to the top. That's generally what happened. Also, shout out to this English unit right here. Holding firm. Oh no, these are the Flemish guild swordsmen, yeah. Okay. And that's one of the things I love about 1212. It's just every faction, basically every faction, feels so unique. Like, they all have interesting units. It's not just like oh, England, France, the HRE, Castile, you know, maybe some like the Mamluks or something like that, you know, they're the ones with the unique units. No, like everyone has interesting units to mess around with in some way or another. You know, there's like 70 something factions in 12-12, and each of them on the battlefield have a very cool units. You know, I can't wait to play as one of the Sultanates, and using the not the Gulag foot soldiers. Maybe they are called. No, that's definitely not right. But the heavy foot archers, they're just so goddamn good, and they act as infantry basically as well. Such a great unit. But yeah, you can see, I mean, this Flemish unit is actually repelling the French levies. I mean, they are just French levies, don't get me wrong, but they're actually routing some units, which is hilarious. And now the English are, oh, that's so good. I love this, man. You guys are awesome. They formed a marching kind of column before rushing over. That's what we want to see, boys. More battles like this, guys, where you do not funny formations, but you do formations and, yeah, form up battle and marching lines. It's really, really cool. So they're going to be rushing over to this battlefield. It does seem like we have missed a heavy night engagement here, as we do have the Flemish Count's bodyguard getting stuck in alongside the French. And we also do have Edward as well, the Black, who has not been killed yet, so he is still fighting on in this 100 Years' War. Interesting fact as well, I learned on Wikipedia as well, is that Edward actually died before his father did in life. I think he died of an illness, but again, maybe I'm making that up. I didn't actually see how he died, but I'm pretty sure he died way before his time. And yeah, it was a pretty nice engagement. However, the French are committing some pretty strong units over here. We do have some Flemish crossbowmen though. The Brotherhoods of St. George, again, they're going to be hammering away, trying to take down these pikemen. A great unit here to be focusing down. You know, trying to kill these pikemen. But this is pretty scary for the English, obviously. Having these pikemen turn up, that's going to be a great anti-cav force. And yeah, the French are really outmatched now on the balance of power bar. They're throwing an infantry on the front line, but it just seems like they're pretty exhausted. And with the constant firing from the English and the Flemish bowmen, it seems like they've maybe claimed this one so far, at least. You know, unless some big things can happen on the flank. Oh, one of the French generals going down as well. That's pretty big right there, and that could be catastrophic. Yeah, you're seeing a lot of these low-tier levies going down. And the blue army is, yeah, taking a pounding after losing their general. Even with these pikemen making their way to the battle, I think we've got some knights coming into the rear of them as well, getting into their ranks with the consistent crossbow fire coming in as well. I think this cavalry fight could be going very much in favor of the English. And then we do also get some English infantry breaking through against the, Flemish infantry breaking their way through onto the French crossbows now. Going to be routing them, and yeah, huge breaks right there. The main French army, though, has now engaged the English. They do have, you know, good billmen here, which are going to be able to hold that front line. A lot of archer fire going off, though, which is good to obviously trying to focus down these billmen as quickly as possible. But the rest of the English army is now turning up, and they're going to come colliding in on this flank, just causing so many issues. You know, going to be forcing back all of these archers and throwing them back into the abyss. So I think the English have got this battle. And it's going to be going, you know, to its historical owners in this engagement. Well, yeah, what a great battle that this has been so far. Really, really enjoyed it. And I love the formations. I love the mix of superpowers between France and England. That rivalry always makes the battles cool. And yeah, I definitely love the way that the army's set up as well. And obviously being a night battle as well. Night battles are always cool. Yeah, the billmen doing a brilliant job there. And then consistent fire volleys as well, just lighting up the sky. That's Knight's fight, and I really hope that YouTube doesn't butcher this. I will be brightening it in Premiere, so hopefully you guys can see it perfectly fine. But I know YouTube does have a tendency to absolutely kill the brightness of a lot of these things. But hopefully with me turning up the brightness a bit in Premiere, hopefully everything will be fine. Because night battles are always very cool. Now, as you can see, the French are in a full-on retreat now, flying back, and I think that is going to be the battle right there. The English line held firm, and even after, like, we were so focused on that right flank. I mean, they were the flank that engaged first, but we were so focused on that right flank, I just assumed that things would be, yeah, things would be pretty catastrophic. And there you go, the last French general goes down. Yeah, really catastrophic for the centre of the English, but the Flemish held and the right English army held, and I guess they just got the better deal of it. Yeah, even though it looked like the English on the left did get eradicated, I guess they did enough damage to hold the engagement. And yeah, heavy casualties there for the French right there, taking, 1,600 was the least. This army taking 2,200 casualties, and the English, yeah, you can see that the English army on the, I assume Canary was on the left-hand side, took a heavy pounding, but I guess he did enough damage in return to the enemy armies, and then the other two armies doing a very nice job indeed at keeping that battle line sturdy and then reforming up to take on the remnants of the French. So a very good battle indeed. Big shout out to all these players. I loved your formations. Please do more of that. And yeah, if you guys want to see more 12-12 on the channel, drop a like, drop a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.